13 films and multiple timelines later, we have yet another conclusion to the Halloween franchise with Halloween Ends. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you're new here, my name is Carter Scotland Allen. Let's dive into the final conclusion of the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. Before we get started, I do also have a ranking of the entire Halloween franchise, as well as reviews for every film in the franchise, so please be sure to go check that out. It is very much appreciated, and please be sure to like and subscribe. Moving right along to Halloween Ends, though, wow. I want to preface this by saying I had tickets to go see the film in theaters on the opening night, but as the film's release got closer and closer, I just had a bad feeling about the film. So we decided to watch it on Peacock, and none of us enjoyed the film. 4 years after her last encounter with masked killer Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is living with her granddaughter and trying to finish her memoir. Myers hasn't been seen since, and Laurie finally decides to liberate herself from rage and fear and embrace life. However, when a young man stands accused of murdering a boy that he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that forces Laurie to confront the evil she can't control. Okay, let's get into it because I don't care about this film. That's why it's taken me so long to get this review done. I watched the film on opening night, but since I watched it, I just have had no interest to really share my thoughts on the film. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to share my thoughts because I know some of you out there are feeling the exact same way where you're just kind of just burnt out. So starting with the directing, I do think the direction and the directing works within the film. The story that they're trying to tell comes across in a way that is successful, although I completely disagree with everything they do. I absolutely don't enjoy any of this film other than that opening sequence, which is awful to say. It's just very well done. It's super unsettling, and that's how it should be. But that's about the only positive thing I can say really about this film and about the direction and the directing. It's not for me. These story ideas feel tailored to just a small handful of people and really taped onto the film last minute. David Gordon Green seems to have unfortunately left everything they were setting up in Halloween 2018, in return giving audiences a really horrible ripoff of Christine. As for the cast and the characters, there's not a single character in this film that I felt relatable to for an extended period of time. I did relate to Corey in the very opening sequence. After that, I knew exactly where the film was going, and I just couldn't side with anything that he was doing. I even felt more connected with Laurie in her small scenes in Halloween Kills than I did throughout all of Halloween Ends. And to speak on Allison, all of her intuition and decision-making skills are just completely thrown out the window, where everybody in the town sees something wrong with Corey, and she can't get it through her thick skull. They make her an absolute moron. And as for Hawkins, his story and his backstory revealed in Halloween Kills is essentially pointless. Everything they've done with Hawkins was pointless, and it sucks because I really liked Hawkins. I love the actor who plays him. I think it's Will Patton. I enjoyed him in Falling Skies when I was like 12, 13 years old. I really like him as an actor, and I enjoyed him in the Halloween franchise. But wow, they shafted his character in Halloween Ends. As for the townspeople of Haddonfield, they do feel quirky just to be quirky, just like they did in Halloween Kills, but I will say I don't feel it as much as I did in Halloween Kills, so there is that as a positive. The film is a mess, but at least the cast and the characters, they do portray whatever the hell they were trying to portray in a successful manner. I don't like it, but it is successful. They did their job. As for the film's story, I do think there are seeds and bits and pieces here and there that have very good ideas and intentions for where the franchise could have gone, but the execution is just absolutely trash. They could have and should have introduced Corey in Halloween 2018. He could have been the third person in this love triangle between Cameron, Allison, and obviously Corey. I think that would have been a really interesting dynamic. You could have made him a high schooler, not have him be graduated, not have this take place a couple years later. I get why they did that, but they still could have set it all in one night, one weekend, whatever it may have been. And you could have had Corey end up kill Cameron in Halloween Kills. All of the kills in Halloween Kills could have essentially been Corey, and then at the very end of that film, it could have been revealed that, oh, Corey dies as Michael, and you take off his mask and you holy shit, it's not Michael, it's Corey. It was Corey this whole time in Halloween Kills. And then that's when Michael would show up, take back his mask, and then you would have room to make Halloween Ends, where it's just one long battle between Michael and Laurie, actually this time being a battle between Michael and Laurie, and then you could have just Michael do his thing, whereas he did his thing in Halloween Kills, and then he did nothing in Halloween Ends. So, yeah, I'm babbling, but that's because this film is extremely frustrating. The babysitter sequence could have been teased in 2018 and then further explored and even shown in Halloween Kills, leading up to Corey's ultimate reveal in the end of what should have and could have been Halloween Kills. There are so many ways that this plot line, this specific storyline of Corey turning evil, could have been introduced and woven into this trilogy in a way that didn't come as an ultimate shock and didn't come as a blatant ripoff of Christine. You could have done this and had homages to Christine here and there, and then at the end of the trilogy, people would have been like, whoa, that was Halloween meets Christine, and we didn't even realize it until the end of the trilogy. But that's not the case. That's not what we got. Corey being able to wrestle Michael Myers to the ground was just one of the many things that I found absolutely atrocious and a diss to everything that John Carpenter set up in that original film. It is just not my film. It's not my Halloween film, and I hate saying sentences like that where like, no, this isn't my timeline, but God, this movie sucks. Although it might not be the most entertaining thing to see, I do think we needed footage of what Michael was doing down in the sewers. Again, it might not have been that entertaining, but I do feel like it was needed for the story. And on top of all this, Laurie took Michael down way too easily, especially after everything he did in Halloween Kills. I don't care if he was beat up and barely hanging on by a thread. This fight was way too easy, and then the whole grinder sequence was just super unsatisfying. It was just slow and like, oh, okay, he's gone. Like, it just, I don't know what I was expecting. There was a rumor that maybe people were going to pull him apart with chains and different trucks and pull his body apart. I think that would have been awesome. Again, we don't know. Maybe it'll be in a deleted scene. I hope so. I'm just not a fan of this film. Visually, this film is fine. It is consistent with the other two films in this trilogy for the most part. That's all I really can say about the visuals for this film. The kills were really well done and they were really gross, but that's all I can say about the visual elements for Halloween Ends. Even the opening sequence I didn't really care for or have too much of an interest with. I like the reference to Season of the Witch with the blue font, but other than that, the visuals don't do much for me. And moving on to the score is very much the same as the visuals when it comes to just not doing much for me. It's a well done score, but to me it feels the least like Halloween out of all these scores in the David Gordon Green trilogy. And moving on to the final thoughts for Halloween Ends, I have to say that this is possibly one of the most disappointing endings to a franchise, a story in general, that has ever been shown on screen. I'm honestly kind of disappointed that Jamie Lee signed up for a film like this because it doesn't feel like a Halloween film, and on top of that, it doesn't have a real satisfying conclusion for Michael and Laurie. Like, both of their conclusions are just kind of meh. Her last shot on her front porch, meh. Michael's last shot in the grinder, meh. I don't care. I don't think I will watch this film again, and I most definitely will not purchase this film, which is super annoying to say because I own Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018, and now Halloween Kills. So I only own those three films, which I'm fine to own. I'm honestly fine kind of having it be its own little trilogy and just having Kills end off the way that it is because, yeah, it's not that great of a film, but Halloween Ends was so bad that I kind of don't mind how Halloween Kills is anymore. Overall, there were two really, really extremely entertaining kills in the film, and then again, that opening sequence was really well done. It's just, that was it. That was the only real enjoyability that I got from this film. I will say the tongue and the radio station, that was kind of fun and quirky, but again, it just doesn't feel like Halloween. Halloween Ends tries to pay homage while being its own thing and utterly fails. Those are my thoughts on Halloween Ends. Please be sure to go check out all of my reviews for every film in the Halloween franchise, along with my ranking for the entire franchise. I'm sure you're probably not going to be too surprised by where Halloween Ends lands on that ranking, but please be sure to go check that out. Once again, my name is Carter Scotland Allen. Thank you guys so much for watching my reviews for the Halloween franchise. It has been a very fun ride. Although the film sucked, I'm glad to have been a part of this horror community, sharing my thoughts on Halloween Ends, the last film that we will get with Jamie Lee Curtis. I do not see her coming back when she's 80 or 90, and I hope not. So, yeah, this film sucked, but I'm glad I could share my thoughts about it. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm Carter Scotland Allen, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.